Hello and welcome to Wedding Wednesdays with Weddings Online. My name is Kelly and I'm a former wedding planner and blogger, and I'm obsessed with weddings. If you're planning a wedding in Ireland, you're in the right place. You're going to learn the tried and tested methods to planning your dream wedding without the added stress. Think of this as your one-stop shop for everything to do with planning your wedding in Ireland, with me, your new wedding planning bestie, and a cup of tea. This is Wedding Wednesdays with Weddings Online. If you want to host a wedding that is interactive and fun, where your guests are involved in all the action and not passively watching the wedding happen around them, then this is for you, because today we're talking all about interactive wedding entertainment. My name is Kelly. I'm the host of the Wedding Wednesdays podcast, and this is a super fun wedding trend that I really love. The whole trend is about getting your guests involved in the wedding. And so I'm going to walk you through some really fun ways that you can do that with your entertainment. And I think this is going to blow your mind, and your guests are going to love it too. So let's get started. I think that you can get your guests interacting at the very start of your wedding process with your invitations. Now, I know that this isn't technically entertainment, but your wedding invitations give your guests the first hint of what to expect on your wedding day. So the look is really important. You know, the colors in your invitation give a hint about the colors at the wedding. But when you get them to RSVP, you could make it really fun. Instead of just, yes, I can attend, or no, I can't, or, you know, whatever the formal words are, you could do something like, heck yes, see you on the dance floor. And then you leave a line on the wedding invitation where, you know, when they RSVP, they can fill that in with some songs that they would love to hear at your wedding. Now, of course, this could be, you know, a printed version that they then mail back, or it could be an online version, whatever it is. The point here is that you're getting your guests involved from the very beginning by getting them to share songs with you that they would love to hear on the dance floor. And then you can add them to your must-play list. You can share them with your DJ, with your band, and you can say, this is what our guests want to hear. And then you know that when it comes time to the dancing, which we'll talk about in a moment, you know that your guests are actually going to love being on the dance floor because they're going to hear songs that they've chosen. Okay. Now, how about this? You want to get your guests involved in doing something when you are going to be preoccupied. Now, there are some moments in your wedding timeline where you guys will be busy doing other things. Things like, you know, you'd be getting your pictures taken with your partner and your wedding party, and everyone else will just be hanging out. We do have a separate episode about what to do so you can make sure that you don't have awkward gaps of time with nothing to do, and I can drop a link to that episode as well. But one of the key things that I shared in that episode is that the gaps don't feel long and awkward if your guests have something to do. And this is a great space to give them something interactive to do. So here are some examples. You could have lawn games outside if you're hosting a summer wedding or any kind of wedding where you expect that the sun is going to shine. Just gets them having some fun together. You could get your guests to do something that's actually going to benefit you once you become married. For example, get your guests to write out things like date night ideas, and they can pop them in a jar or a box. And it's kind of like an interactive moment where they're sharing their tips and ideas with you, but then you get to keep those tips and ideas. And then when you're married and you're looking to do something fun on your date night, you've got all these really cool ideas that your guests have actually shared with you. And if you capture this information in a particular way, you could actually have their names on there. And then when you do that date, you could send them a message or take a picture and send it to them and say, hey, we loved that idea that you shared with us. This is us enjoying that date. They'd love that too. How about this? You could set up a wall full of pictures, and the pictures can be things for your guests to look at. It could be, you know, photos of you and your partner as children. You know, if you didn't know each other as children, which most couples didn't grow up together, you could have photos of you guys at, say, age 5, where it's like you at age 5, your partner at age 5, and the pictures are together. You could also have pictures of, you know, your relationship, the adventures you've gone on as a couple, and then this is where it gets interactive. A whole lot of photos of you with your friends and family. So people will be looking out for photos of things that they know you've done together. For example, if you've got a whole lot of your university friends coming and you have a couple of group photos of you guys all hanging out together, maybe there was a Thursday night where every Thursday you would go to the same club and you've got photos of those things. Those university friends are going to be looking for those pictures. And the same with other groups, you know, your work friends, some of your family members, your school friends, all of those people will be looking for those moments to see if you've captured, you know, the memories that you guys have together as a group. And that's a really fun way of getting your guests excited and, you know, looking for themselves in the pictures and telling stories to each other. So those are a few things you can do while you guys are preoccupied and your guests have time to be interactive. Now, here's another idea. This is one of my favorites because I've been on the receiving end of this entertainment, and that is if you get a professional entertainer. So you could do something like this. You could hire a magician, a mentalist, or a mind reader, somebody whose role for a period of time is to actually go around to your guests and actually perform for them in smaller groups. So instead of having somebody stand up on a stage and everybody passively watching it happen, they're actually involved in the magic tricks. So we hosted a Weddings Online event earlier this year, and something that we like to do is we get someone like this, like a magician, a mentalist, a mind reader, to go around to the different tables and really do different tricks with them. And it was really fun to watch because the tricks are happening right in front of you, and sometimes it's sleight of hand where there's card tricks happening, and then the tricks get really interactive and fun, where the magician will often ask a question about, a childhood friend. And then the next thing, they know who your childhood friend is, even though you haven't said the name out loud, and the name was written somewhere on a card, and they present the card, and it's this whole really fun experience. I think it's really cool because it gets your guests really involved in something, but in a way where the spotlight isn't on them. They don't have everyone in the room looking at them. It's just the people at their table or who were standing with them in that moment. And it's a really fun thing that you can do. I really loved it because I thought, how on earth does this magician and mentalist know these things? They're so sneaky and just so good at their job. So I highly recommend that. So getting a professional entertainer is another way that you can get people interacting on your wedding day. Okay, here's another one. A photo booth. Now, I know photo booths are things that we've been doing for a long time, and everybody knows how fun they are. You can get a photo booth where it's actually photos that are taken, and often those photos are printed. So you would get a printed copy and a digital copy. And in that case, you could also have this double as your guest book and your wedding favor as well, where the guests get to keep the photos. So maybe they get one copy of the photo for themselves and one copy that they can stick in a guest book and write a message next to. You could also have a video booth, which is the same as a photo booth, except, of course, instead of capturing photos, they're capturing videos. So I've been in some of those before, where, the videos are captured in like a 360-degree booth, and it's really fun. And you can include some interactive props. So it could be, inflatable guitars, it could be funny wigs and big glasses, it could be, a sign that says, "I'm just here for the cake," those types of really fun things. It just gets your guests having loads of fun. And one of the ways that it becomes interactive is that with the video booth, instead of getting a printed photo, you would actually get the video airdropped to you. And so your guests would have all those videos that they can then post on social media, which is just super fun. Okay, here's another one. If you want to have an interactive wedding, of course you have to think about the party time. So I firstly will always recommend having a professional band and a professional DJ. Don't try and do it on your own. So with that out of the way, hire a band and a DJ that know how to get your guests involved. So it could be things like getting the guests included in some way. Maybe that is, choosing songs where people are singing along. And it could be, like the band sings a bit and they say, "Repeat after me," and they get everyone to sing. There are some professional bands that are really skilled at this in particular, getting your guests involved in the party. Could be, putting the mic at people's faces and saying, "Sing along with me," just making it really fun, and everybody loves that moment. It could be things like starting a train where everybody who's on the dance floor ends up doing this train all around the wedding venue. It's this really fun moment where everybody's interacting and they're probably meeting people that they didn't know before they came. You could also have props. Like we mentioned before with the video booth, you could have inflatable guitars. You could have things like glow sticks and bubbles, and just make it really fun, and everybody's like having something with them. And then, of course, when it comes to the party, the song choices are very important. So now we already said earlier that when guests RSVP, it's always fun if you get them to choose a song because you know that they're going to hear the song and then they're going to want to come and dance when they hear that song. But something else you can do is you can choose songs that actually get people interacting. Any song that has actions. Now, we know the Macarena, we know the YMCA, we know the Cha-Cha Slide. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about, where everybody who knows those moves, they're all interacting. And at that point, it almost doesn't matter who's around you because you're not strangers anymore, because you're dancing with people who know the song, they know the actions, and it becomes this really fun moment and everybody just lets loose. Okay, I got a couple more ideas for you guys. You can have some extra fun elements like stick-on tattoos. You can get people involved in some TikTok trends. Have you seen the glasses trend? So the glasses trend is where you have tinted glasses, like sunglasses, and you write something on them. Like it could be your wedding date on the one side, it could be your initials, something like that, where everybody, this is one pair of glasses and everybody wears the glasses, one person at a time. And somebody goes around, it could be a content creator, goes around and takes pictures and videos of everybody and then pieces them all together. And everybody who's seen the trend will know what's happening when somebody gives them the glasses to wear, and that's just an interactive way of getting them involved in the action. And then, of course, you want to give them a reason to take photos and videos of the day and to post them online and share them with you. So having a hashtag or even just simply saying, we'd love for you to take photos and videos, take them, post them, tag us. I love that kind of thing. Okay, I'm going to share a couple of ideas that you might be familiar with if you listened to last week's episode all about first dance wedding alternatives. So I'm going to fly through these ideas because if you've already listened to that episode, you'll know some of these, but they are really interactive. So you could do a special interactive first dance where you get all the married couples on the dance floor and your MC or your DJ can say, if you've been married for longer than, 1 day, stay on the dance floor. And then, of course, you as the newly married couple, you would hop off the dance floor. And then they could say, if you've been married for longer than 1 year, stay on the dance floor. And then all the couples who've been married recently will get off. And then you continue doing this. You go from 1 year to 5 years, and then to 10 years, to 20, to 30. And you basically do that until you're left with one couple that's been married longer than everybody else. And then you could get them some flowers or everybody claps for them. And it's interactive because all the married couples are involved in that first dance. It's not only you. And then the reason that I included that in last week's episode is because most couples are they love having the spotlight, but there are a lot of couples who don't want all eyes on them. And this is a perfect way to make sure you don't have all eyes on you only. Okay, another thing you can do that's interactive is to play some games. So now you could do things like we mentioned before, having some lawn games if you're having an outdoor summer wedding. You could also do things like having a big table with some board games on it because not everybody wants to dance. And so that could be a fun thing that they do. You can have like a table tennis table, those types of things that just get guests mingling and playing games together. But you could also play a game where everyone is watching it. And so this is something that we spoke about in the last episode, where you get, 1 or 2 guests from each table onto the dance floor, seated on a chair, and the MC or the DJ hosts this game, or could be a friend or a family member, where everybody who's seated on those chairs on the dance floor, they have to try and find something. And you specify, if you're starting with 20 people, you say the first 16 people to come back with this item will stay in the game. And then you have another item, and then it's the first, 10 people to come back until you're left with one winner. And the items could be things like an empty wine glass, it could be a napkin, it could be somebody's handbag, it could be a pair of shoes that don't belong to you. You choose ahead of time and you just make it really fun, because what ends up happening is you have people seated on the dance floor, and then as soon as the countdown begins, it's like 3, 2, 1, and then they're running across the wedding venue trying to find these things. They run back, they sit down, and it's just really fun. And a way to make it interactive for more than just those people is if you have 1 or 2 people representing each table, you could then say, okay, the people that are at your table who are sitting on the dance floor, you've got to cheer for them. And everybody's cheering and it's fun, and everybody's got, everybody has an incentive to be excited about who wins. Okay, another thing that we shared last time is about the group photos on the dance floor. So this is what you do. Instead of going around to each table and taking a photo with them, you get them to come to you. So you play a fun song. You and your partner sit on the dance floor on 2 chairs. Your photographer is stationed and ready, and then your MC or your DJ or a friend or family member can count everybody in and say, okay. And obviously they explain the rules, so everybody knows what to do. Everybody's lined up and ready. And they basically count them in and say, okay, table number 1, let's go. And then everybody from table 1 runs up behind you on the dance floor. They pose for a photo, they run off, and then table 2, and they come. And you basically end up with a whole lot of really cool photos of you posing with each group of guests from each table, but in a fun way where they've run on. You'd probably find they'd be more smiley, they'd be laughing, more so than if they're seated or standing at their table. Okay, and the final idea for interactive weddings is interactive food. In addition to your meal, which may be a plated meal, it might be a buffet, there's some other things you could do. For example, you could do a build your own dessert. It could be, ice cream with toppings and sauces, and it's like a sundae bar. You could do things like a chocolate fountain with all your favorite foods to dip in it, strawberries, donuts, all the good stuff. You could have a popcorn bar with toppings and sprinkles. It could be a really good midnight snack. And then, of course, you've got the donut wall, you've got the Prosecco wall, you've got the cupcake wall. The idea here is that instead of all your food being served to people or people, dishing it up, there are some fun interactive food elements that just get people, talking and chatting and laughing and talking about how fun this is. Well, thank you for listening today. The Wedding Wednesdays with Weddings Online podcast is produced by me, Kelly, and mixed, mastered, and edited by Glenn Hartman. For more wedding planning tips, advice, checklists, and more, visit weddingsonline.ie.